everybody. I'm Anna.
And I'm Brian.
And we are
Those Annoying Vegans. Welcome to the podcast.
It's our first podcast.
It's our very first podcast. And to that, we cheers.
Ooh. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, come on. All right. Well, this podcast is a little addition to our we've sort of made our mission through our YouTube channel, where we introduce people to some of our favorite vegan recipes.
That's right.
To our Twitter feed and Instagram and what else?
Yeah.
And Facebook, everything.
We have like a social media presence now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been nice. We've been reaching people and we've been getting feedback.
Your, or I should say, the Vegans channel, doing way better than my movie review channel. Which is what happens, kids, when you have a beautiful woman in your videos.
Well, no. I mean, it's a much more specific audience.
Yes. Because we're getting complete strangers now.
Yeah.
Liking the page and hitting us up on Twitter.
We're even getting hate.
Oh, we got our first haters.
We've got our first
We got
hater.
our first haters.
That's really good.
Complete strangers.
Where's my phone? I left
you
my phone
You can go to
out.
Twitter on there if you want. You can pull
yeah,
it up.
we'll bring that up later.
Shall we introduce ourselves? I don't know what to do. It's our first episode.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
we're playing it fast and loose here, guys.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with, obviously this is a vegan podcast, but anyone can listen to it. We're not, we're going to be very particular about the way we communicate. So, don't be afraid.
I think it's a vegan podcast in the sense that we're both vegans.
Yeah. But
we're going to run out of shit to talk about.
Yeah, eventually.
Real soon.
It's probably going to become, there's going to be bits about traffic or, I don't know.
Politics or
whatever.
This thing I saw. By the way, should I say the S word?
What, shit?
Yeah, are we keeping this clean? Or?
Nah.
Okay, good.
That's why we're podcasting. We're keeping things clean on our Facebook page. Like, I don't want to turn anyone off. But this is going to get real.
This is the adult hour.
So, yeah.
Rated R.
Let's start with, I'm going to start with me, I guess.
Always start with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a popular misconception as of late has been people think that I've always been vegan and that I just grew up that way and I don't know how much what it means to love meat.
Right.
I was a meat eater for 26 years of my life.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a country where most entrees are meat. I mean, you go to Costa Rica and everything is meat, chicken, fish. We have a port.
A lot of seafood.
A lot of seafood.
Right?
We have 2 coasts. So I grew up eating salchichon with lime. And I mean, my favorite dish growing up was shrimp and rice with ketchup. But yeah, and I had absolutely no idea about what it was to be vegan or that there was such a thing as until I moved to Los Angeles, of course. But
there are vegans in LA?
no one would believe it.
No.
But it was really random because it was I had just moved here and I was going to LA Fitness at the time, and there was I went to a yoga class, and our instructor had this list at the end that we could sign up to because she had a retreat to Italy, for a yoga retreat to Italy, and I was like, heck, I'm not going to be able to afford this, but I'll sign up because maybe I can just make friends when we start getting the emails or whatever. I don't know. I was just trying to kind of find my way around. And then one random day, she sends us all an email, and she says something to the extent of, hey guys, I just came across this. I just, let me know your thoughts. And there was a link. And I clicked on it, and it was a link to a series of YouTube videos, which, is really, the videos were the movie Earthling. It was just split into different videos because each, I think at the time you could only have a certain length on YouTube. I don't know if that's still a thing.
You used to have a 10-minute cap, I think, on videos. Yeah.
So the entire movie was just split into different videos. Now it's an entire movie, and you can find it online. Earthlings.com, I think. You can find it.
We can put the link in the episode description.
So yeah, I watched that video, and it changed my life overnight. It was an overnight thing for me because it opened my eyes to things I had never seen before, information I did not know. And I have always been an animal lover, and I never made the connection. For some reason, you just don't make the connection. I was eating meat and chicken, beef all my life, and I never actually thought that this came. I knew that it came from an animal, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's such a weird disconnect. And
it was the connection is. I feel like the connection is purposefully not made. Because people don't like the idea that when they eat a meal, they're killing something to eat it. I'm sure some people out there might be okay with it. You know, some people are, I like dead baby chickens in the morning and grown chickens in the evening. You know, like they like eggs, they like steak, they like chicken, all of which are things that I used to eat, you used to eat. Mm-hmm. It's part of the American culture. You grow up.
It's part of the world, most of the
world culture. And not only that, but they will put they'll put pigs with like smiley faces on the sides of the trucks. You know what I mean? Like happy pigs that we're slaughtering to eat. Like the cognitive dissonance is intentional, I think. Mm-hmm. They will say, happy cows. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
Chick-fil-A
California cheese, and then Chick-fil-A is like, you have a cow holding a sign that says eat more chicken.
Eat more chicken.
Because he doesn't want to get killed. So it's like we know in our brains what's happening, but we don't want to feel it in our heart because that makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that was a really big part of why I wanted to start this channel. Well, should I talk about me?
What prompted you? What was
sorry. We're going to put a pin in that, as they say, and we're going to tease it. I guess it would be really funny for 22-year-old me to look at 32-year-old me, because just like you, I was a devout meat eater. I loved steak. I loved, crispy chicken tenders, that was my thing. Meat lovers pizza, that was my thing. Chili dogs, hamburgers.
The works.
Buffalo wings. Buffalo wings were a big one for me. Like, just meat. Like, meat's good. You eat meat. Don't think twice about it. It's part of what you eat. And not only that, but like, if I rewind 10 years, when I started grad school at UCLA, I went to school for acting, in case you don't know. My first year getting my master's degree in acting from the School of Theater, Film, and Television at UCLA, we had to do an exercise called the argument exercise. Mm-hmm. And what it was I had done this in undergrad too. You pick a topic, you and a classmate pick a topic, you find time outside of class to argue about that topic. Mm. And then you bring back to the class, you recreate the argument that you had outside of class. And it's a basic exercise in, understanding a character's tactics, understanding a character's wants. What does this character want versus what does this character want? How does that character go about getting his or her way? What tactics does he use against the other character? Mm-hmm. All of those things are things that you can apply to the skill of acting, because when you're acting, that's what you're doing in a scene. Character A wants this, character B wants this. How do they go about doing that? Right. Mm-hmm. And the argument was veganism.
Your particular group?
My argument. Me and my classmate. He was a vegan at the time, isn't anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was my argument. And I was arguing against veganism. He was arguing for veganism. Mm. And it really bugged me because he was winning. He was right. And that bothered me. It bothered me because what it does is it sits you back on your heels a little bit, and people get defensive.
Yeah.
Like when you start telling people like what you're doing is wrong, they start getting defensive. It's a human response because
no one wants to hear that they're doing something wrong.
Well,
no one wants to feel
right, and
like
people,
a bad person.
People aren't evil.
And
people aren't mean.
Yeah.
People are just going to the Ralphs and buying a chicken breast.
Right.
Like, it seems
normal
and simple enough. And what I did was I actually added an element to the argument when we were delivering it in class. And I wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to stick with the script of the argument that we had. So in essence, the only way that I could find to beat this guy in an argument was to cheat.
What did you say?
And it made me feel like a piece of shit. Like, it made me feel horrible.
I want to know. I've never heard this.
It was like we started arguing about veganism, and then automatically, like, the vegan argument starts winning because it's not only you not only have the moral argument, but then you have like the environmental impact, and then you have the cost, and then you have the water usage, and you have like there's all these other things. So basically, I was left with nothing but trying to get this person to admit that they cared about human life more than animal life, because at least that little bit would make me feel justified as a meat eater. Because as a meat eater, you say, like, you can't possibly care about a chicken as much as you care about a fellow human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I introduced that element of the argument into the argument, but we hadn't
you hadn't
done
talked
that
about it outside
previously.
so he was caught off guard.
Right. And I shouldn't have done that. I was wrong. I cheated at the game, and I felt horrible about it. To this day, I still feel awful about it.
Well, he should have brought up the health facts about that if he had known if he hadn't been surprised.
But I mean, like, the thing is like, we had that argument, and then I went to bed, and then we went to the class the next day or whatever, and I was thinking about that all night long, trying to think of, like, God damn it, how do I, you know what I mean? Like, because it is frustrating. And so,
well, what ultimately
so we fast forward a few years, and I saw this BuzzFeed video, which I can also put the link in the episode description, which was, it was like 5 of the standard BuzzFeed actors that they get in every video. They were like, we're going to go to a farm today, and we're each going to kill our own chicken and pluck it and skin it and roast it over a fire, and they're going to eat chicken, but they're going to go from from soup to nuts. They're going to go from killing the animal all the way to eating the animal, final product. They're going to go all the way through the process. Mm-hmm. And I watched it, and you knew what was going to happen, but actually, like, grabbing a chicken and, like, either grabbing its head and breaking its neck with your hand, or I think in this video what they did was they did the metal funnel thing. They have these metal funnels attached to fence posts, and they put the chicken in upside down in the funnel, so his head pops out the bottom of the funnel, and then they just slit its throat, wait for all the blood to drain out, then you pull the body out and you pluck all the feathers and you rinse it off, and then you skin it and pull out all the guts, and I thought to myself, like, I don't know that I'd be comfortable doing that. And if I'm not comfortable doing that, then I shouldn't be comfortable with the end result,
right? Which
is buying the chicken breast at the Ralph's
or whatever,
without having to see, or the Kroger,
we're not,
or the Piggly Wiggly.
We're not siding with one particular grocer here. The end result is the same.
You're just having
buy it at the store.
Someone else is killing the chicken for you, or you're killing it yourself.
Which people are very comfortable with.
People are very comfortable with that.
I watched a similar video, actually, and it was kind of a little undercover video where it was at a store, and they had a little piglet in a glass case or a cage or something, and people were coming up to the butcher saying, I want cutlets or pork chops or whatever. And the butcher was like, well, here you go. Here's, go ahead. And they're like really confused, like, what do you want me to do? Oh, here's the pig. So go ahead. You can slice it up. You can kill it. And people were completely taken aback. And it's like, well, what do you think? How do you think you get it? How do you think you?
Yeah.
And that's that for me. And here's the thing. One thing I wanted to say is like, okay, here a big misconception about vegans is that we're haters of meat eaters, which is not true.
It's not true.
I have a lot of friends who have meat eaters, and they're wonderful people. But I can't. I have to admit that it is such an internal conflict. I feel like it's a conflict I didn't know before being a vegan. Of veganism can feel a little isolating because there's a level of empathy that I feel vegans understand that other people who eat meat don't really understand.
I'd actually argue that meat eaters understand it, but they're giving way to the cultural standard, which is chickens and cows and pigs are food, cats, dogs, guinea pigs,
rabbits
are pets. And there's a distinction.
Which is very strange to me because it's almost like it's a little bit of what we call, it's like animal discrimination. The feelings are, here's the basics, what it comes down to. You can tell when an animal is happy. You can tell when an animal feels pain.
Yeah.
All animals feel happy. All animals feel pain. So what is the real difference? Some countries, like in India, cows are sacred. Nobody eats cows.
Mm-hmm.
But in other countries like Vietnam, they have dog markets, and to us that's barbaric. But really, it's just as barbaric.
An animal, just a mammal.
Yeah, it's
that you're skinning and eating. I mean, yeah, I don't think it any different. And that was part of that argument that I had in grad school was he was arguing like sentient life versus non-sentient life, because most meat eaters will say like whether you eat a plant or you eat an animal, you're killing life. You're taking life.
Hey, about that, the funniest meme I saw, remember that meme I showed you? Yeah, so tell me again about how plants have feelings. Show me your pet cucumber.
Right.
Like something like that. It was like,
Because you feel backed against as a meat eater, you feel backed against a wall.
Yeah.
Because what happens is since you were a kid, like your mom took you to McDonald's or she took you to a restaurant and gave you chicken nuggets, bacon.
Granted, I never liked hamburgers and I never knew why. It was weird. I don't know if I didn't like the taste of them.
Yeah.
I always, when we went to Burger King for kids parties at Burger King and McDonald's are very popular in my country. And every time we went, I would always get the French bread toast.
The French toast sticks?
Yeah, the French toast sticks with the maple syrup. And, granted, that probably had eggs, but little did I know I was only 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Well, eggs, funnily enough,
what?
are like eggs. Were it not for the horrendous conditions that the chickens live in, eggs are, you told me this, that an egg is a chicken's period.
Yeah.
It's not actually a baby chicken.
No.
You're not eating a baby chicken.
No, it's not, because the egg needs to be fertilized by a rooster.
Right.
So in order to be born into a chicken. So otherwise,
it's an unfertilized egg.
Otherwise you're eating a period.
So it's not, eggs aren't, So eggs aren't vegan, quote unquote, but they kind of are, because like the chicken would have just tossed that shit out anyway. Like it's not like that was gonna.
If we lived in a perfect world, which we don't, eggs, I don't know, because the problem with eggs is the industry, the chicken industry.
It's the conditions that the chickens live
in for these eggs that we eat.
Right.
And granted, you have your pasture-raised eggs, and supposedly the chickens live in a pasture and they're happy.
Cage-free, quote unquote.
Well, cage-free, that's for another day, because cage-free can mean a lot of different things. And they put it on their cartons like it's this, we're getting cage-free eggs, and we're being so good because we're getting cage-free eggs. It doesn't really mean much. It just means they're not in a cage, but they're in a warehouse and they have very little room. They have very little sunshine, and they're only required to have one door out into the open.
Mm-hmm.
And to get to that little door, sometimes they have to cross hundreds of feet over many other chickens to get to that little door.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, they have pasture-raised eggs now, and the thing is, I mean, sure, if you want eggs that bag, go. I don't know. They're farmers markets, but I personally, I don't know if I've just had. I don't know. I've had this thing with trusting labels. In general,
because businesses have one goal.
Yeah.
Make more money than we made last year. That's
right.
Every business has one goal, and that's make more money as often as they can. And so,
but if you have a farm and you have chickens and you love them and they're your babies and they're laying chickens and they're laying eggs and you eat them, I think that's different. Okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah. But if that were the case, then the price of eggs would go up.
Yeah.
And no one wants to pay more. Everyone wants everything to be cheap, fast, and easily accessible.
Yeah.
And if that's the way you want things, then the methods with which you obtain these goods is usually not going to be the most... I mean, you take anything. You take a shirt that you buy at H&M
mm-hmm.
is $7.99. It's $8
mm-hmm.
for a button-down shirt. That shirt is A, probably not going to be the best quality, and B, was probably made in a way that maybe you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
But it's $8,
right.
and you can go to the H&M and buy it. And that's what people want, and that's what companies want. Companies want profit, and that's what they care about. And so you're going to get things like companies going like, yeah, well, because the whole idea of a chicken being cage-free, it's spirit of the law versus letter of the law, which is like right. The spirit of having a cage-free chicken. Everyone pictures a chicken roaming the pasture, eating seeds,
birds,
having plenty of space,
butterflies.
Playing with his friends. Like, that's a chicken that's out of a cage, He's cage-free. He's running. Oh, look at the happy chicken. Don't worry. I peek mics. That's what I do. But the letter of the law is like, well, all right, cool. So we have this factory farm. We'll just take the cages out. We'll just wall them in to this giant room.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just shove as many chickens in here as we can. Technically, they're cage-free.
It's called a loophole.
And every business is going to do that if it means saving a dime on one end so that they can make an extra dime on the other.
Absolutely.
And that is... I guess my point about meat eaters aren't bad people. We don't think that they're bad people because we were meat eaters at one point.
Yeah.
And we understand that it's like the bottom line is...
It's like a waking up. It's weird because it sucks. Yeah, because it's like...
Because you're like, for 26 years.
For 26 years, I know. And I don't think...
For me, it was 31 years.
I don't think I was... But the thing is, here's the thing, and this is what gets me. That message, and I know not everybody's the same, but when that message was communicated to me via what I saw, it was an instant reaction. It was an instant decision. Literally the day after I stopped eating meat. Granted, I still ate dairy because I actually didn't know that the dairy industry is actually worse than the meat industry because you're actually contributing to 2 deaths, not 1. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I still ate dairy. It wasn't until very recently that we both cut out dairy completely, and that meant, and I'm in my dairy. By dairy I mean cheese, because the milk, that was very easy to cut out. It's just there's so many other replacements. There's
milks. I honestly think
it was so easy. Ow.
Come on now. Come on, Miss Valverde.
Getting excited. But no, it's like for all those years, I was not aware of what was happening, and then I was aware, and then it was my responsibility to make a decision that would better the lives of many, many animals and myself, because I wasn't going to feel good doing it. You know, but then there are people who know what's happening,
mm-hmm.
and they still continue.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that disconnect is.
And
that's what frustrates me, and that's, I guess, again, I don't want to, I don't want to, this is not meant
point
to.
Fingers?
Yeah, I don't want to
insult an entire majority of the population.
Yeah, no, that's the last thing I want. It's just frustrating because you're fighting for the love of I'm so passionate about, I've always been passionate about animals and speaking up for them, because they have voices, but they don't have voices we can understand. They're not, it's not our language. And because it's not our language, we ignore it. And that's, a lot of people speak up for children, because children also usually, they can speak, but they're not loud enough, I guess, so there are people who speak for children. There's people who speak for the homeless. I speak for animals because I feel like they need the most help. I think they're one of the most, that's also subjective, because I'm sure there are many, many people on this planet who need help. Victims of abuse and victims of genocide and victims of everything. Animals, I can't do everything, people. I picked one, this is mine, and I'm passionate about it, and I want to do my best communicating that message without, not having friends, I guess, because I still want friends. But again, I have found too that sometimes you have to choose. There are people who have, like, I've felt cornered by, who I've never meant to attack. Like, people will just bring up, it's very natural for people to bring up at a dinner table, so you don't eat meat, huh? So how do you get your protein? Obviously every vegan knows that's the most common question. I'm like, oh yeah, like, did you care before? I don't know. Or some people actually ask with the genuine curiosity, and I'm happy to explain. But I have felt cornered before. People seem to want to attack vegans for doing something that I feel is good, and that's not fair. And
the need to attack comes from what we were talking about, which is the internal guilt. Now, you said earlier. Well, I said earlier about the thing of you're a child. You were raised on bacon and eggs and steak and ham. Are you hot?
Yeah, it's hot in here.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We're in a closet, people.
We're
closet.
We're in a professional.
It's a
sound recording studio.
Completely professional.
Thank you.
But it is hot in here.
You grow up just that's the way it is, and you don't want to feel like you have been an evil person for your whole life. And then you look around and it's like, this restaurant sells hamburgers, this restaurant sells pepperoni pizza, this restaurant sells buffalo wings, this restaurant sells cheese. Yeah. Everyone eats meat and cheese, like everyone. What's the matter? Like, what's the problem? What's the problem? And then that turns to like, hold on, you're the problem because you make me feel like shit. Yeah. I'm not the one in there killing chickens and killing me. And it's like, it comes from that place. And I know that because I felt it firsthand. I felt it. I felt, you get back on your heels and you feel attacked and you feel your morals get questioned, and it sucks. And like I said, in that argument exercise, like, I felt like a miserable piece of shit that my only resort was to cheat. And it felt awful. And it didn't really dawn, because my ears were not open. My ears were not open to hear the message.
Right.
And that's kind of part of the problem.
And that's what it is. Yeah, I feel it, because for some people, it's a very gradual process. For some, it'll never be. It'll never be, because, some things are important to some people and some things aren't. And I understand that. Like, like I said, my passion, my mission in life is to help animals, and homelessness, as important as it is, I just don't have enough energy. I will always, be supportive of any proactivity in that sense, but I can't take on everything. The whole, already this is so much to take on. I lost my train of thought.
That's bound to happen on this podcast, kids.
Oh, but I was gonna say, open ears. For some people, the process is gradual, and some people just don't want to hear it. They will ignore it for the rest of their lives, and that's the way it'll always be. And like this Twitter person.
We got some Twitter hate already.
Yeah, a little Twitter hate. And it was kind of a conversation I jumped into because it kind of appeared on my feed, and I wish I had.
You can follow us on Twitter, by the way. It's at Annoying Vegans.
I would have
because those Annoying Vegans was too long. You can go there.
Let me see if I can log in here and.
We're professionals, guys. We're not typing in Twitter. Now you got to log out of me.
Oh, God. Okay.
You can also follow me at Brian Rubenkamp and follow Anna at Anna_Valverde, I believe.
No, it's underscore Anna. No, but that's not the page. I don't care about my Twitter. I want those annoying vegans Twitter is my Twitter now.
It's just annoying vegans.
Oh, whoops.
It's at annoying vegans, guys.
Yeah, I know the password a lot. Okay, so now let me. You almost spilled your drink here. All right. Let's see. How do I go to the notifications?
Up there.
Where?
Top left.
Oh, notifications.
Where it says
Let
notifications.
me see if I can track this. Okay. Yeah, I think I can track it to the very beginning. Okay, so somebody... Oh my god. So this, actually, now that I'm looking at her page, it appears that she has a lot of vegan hate on her page. Aside from the conversation...
Well, that's the problem with any sort of...
This is so strange. It's like her mission to hate vegans. And there was this guy who posted something like... God, let me see if I can find it. You can keep talking. I'll just find this shit here.
Well, I will just say, like, you talked about the cognitive, the separation never going away. And I was just going to say, like, if you grew up like I did in West Virginia, where... Every year people hunt deer.
Here I found it.
Every year, people raise pigs, people raise chickens, people have farms, they have dairy farms. Mm-hmm. People go hunting every fall. Like, it is part of the culture. And it's not really, like, talked about. Like, any alternate lifestyle is not really a thing that ever even gets entertained. You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
Yeah.
What are you scrolling through here?
I would have to look at my interactions here. But no, speaking of that, while I continue to look for this, I'm still very new to...
Great pod.
I don't really...
Tweets and replies.
Twitter's new to me.
There we go.
Oh, here. Okay, so I mean, someone posted something, and she kind of... I can't find that original post, but she kind of jumped on that person. And she said she actually...
Could possibly be what we would call a troll.
Yeah, it could possibly.
A Twitter troll.
Could be.
Someone who's looking for vegan Twitter accounts and vegan posts and shitting on them because it's 2016. And that is what we do as a society.
That's what we spend our time on.
Is we find people with points of view that we disagree with and we shit on them.
View conversation.
There you go. There you go. There we go.
So she posted... Oh my gosh. Okay, so she posted, I already made clear I was once vegan. Do you believe I did not do a tremendous amount of research to ensure I was healthy?
Right.
And that was the first post I saw.
So that must have been something about the health and protein. Because that is the first argument that you always get is veganism's not healthy, you don't get enough protein.
And someone responded to that, said you were probably just lazy, and I'm still not involved. I'm still looking at all this this thread, this discussion. And then she says, funny you make that assumption without knowing when or for how long I was vegan. You are purposefully ignorant. And somebody else jumped in and said humans are herbivores, Jessica. But, obviously that's something you cannot prove to a meat eater who's a passion meat eater. That's another topic.
Well, it's something that can't be proven to anybody because the fact is that humans do eat meat and cheese and vegetables. And our bodies are able to process those things.
You still poop it out.
Thus, we are omnivores. By technical definition,
right.
But it's that argument that people always get into, which is like, are we meant to be vegetarians or are we meant to be carnivores?
Right, and that's what she brings up next.
Right.
She says, "Do you model?" Oh no, she says you might be one, but our human ancestors who developed intellect weren't, and that's an attack there in and of itself because she's implying that we don't have intellect because we choose to.
It's implying that the eating of cooked meat is what gave us our enlarged brains, and if you don't eat meat, you're dumb or something, right?
He responds.
That's also a common attack.
He responds, "Do you model all your life choices on how our ancestors lived?"
Snap!
And she responds, "Oh, of course not. Now we use guns to slaughter food, not flint spearheads, actually more humane too." And that's where I jumped in because...
Anna got involved.
I was like, nuh-uh. I'm sorry.
She's firing back.
And I really, I don't want to get involved, but I do because it's like, well, if this is my passion, if I'm trying to communicate a message, then how else to do it but to get involved? Right. And also, it does help to support each other, and she's not don't think she's being constructive, and
Right.
frankly I don't think the other people were either. But I said, humane. Killing in and of itself is the antithesis of humane, however you do it. First of all, without mentioning the fact, because that my tweets can't be longer than 60 characters. So
Right.
I wasn't going to go into the fact that we don't really use guns. We use guns at slaughterhouses, but
No, they don't use guns
they
because
use, like,
that would require you to expend a bullet every time a pig was killed, which would be money.
Well,
again, it's money.
They do use guns. They use steel.
No, they just use a rod.
They use air guns.
Right. It just shoves a steel rod into the head and it retracts it right back out.
Yeah, I guess
The rod doesn't stay in the cow's head.
I have to
I don't
look
think.
up.
I mean, I'm not positive.
There was I think it was an air gun.
It's a
though.
pneumatic gun that
Yeah.
has it has like a steel rod, a sharpened steel rod that, just like my little mini lightsaber, it's spring loaded, right? My lightsaber is, I'm a geek, by the way, but I have a little lightsaber that's spring loaded. So you push the button and it just pops out.
Ow.
And sorry, was that too loud?
Really peaked.
Wow. Sorry.
It's okay.
It just pops out. And I think the way that they do it is they have a steel rod that just pops out of the gun and pops back into the gun real quick. It's just, and what it does is it just hits them in the brain and pulls right back out. That way they don't have to, because otherwise slaughterhouses would just be going through reams and reams of bullets, just like rounds and rounds
and God forbid,
of
waste
ammunition.
money on humane, what people call humane methods of killing, because I personally don't think it's humane to kill at all. I don't think we should be the deciders of other people's or animals' lives. I think they want to live as much as we do. And the fact that some people don't give a shit about that really kind of ticks me off.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to get mad. But let me continue.
Yes,
Let me finish the thread. So she responded to that and said, "You are all such humorless, regressive left stereotypes, aren't you? Every single one."
Yep.
And I said,
There you go.
I was like, you don't realize this, but you too are a stereotype, because this is what vegans
You're the meat eating
think
stereotype.
meat eaters do.
You think that we are the hippie, hipster, leftist, vegan stereotype,
which,
right?
It's
I mean, we
kinda-
are yelling into a microphone.
But is that preachy?
Literally.
I guess. But that's the thing. If you don't want to listen, don't tune in.
You don't have to tune into the podcast.
No, it's your choice. Turn it off.
But I'm never going to point a finger at a meat eater and say, "You're a bad person."
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like I'm never going to do that.
People think we're just so. That's the thing. That's why this podcast is here now, because there's this whole like sort of misconception about, oh, vegans are just so ready to talk about this. I'm like, I don't go to parties going.
To be fair,
like,
we're literally talking about it into a microphone.
Yeah.
But to your point, we don't
No.
announce to the
Right.
room.
No, that's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
don't walk into we don't get invited to parties and go, "Hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about how you can," whatever. No. I just I enjoy the party. I have a couple glasses of wine, and it's actually people who come up to us to ask us how we do it and what we eat, and they're interested. And it's not, I'm never bringing it up.
I actually went out to a lunch. A coworker of mine is leaving, Clay, going back to Nashville. And so we had like a final, a goodbye lunch for him at the office. And, the boss man comes out and is like, "All right, where are we going for lunch?" And I had been, I had left the office to run to GameStop.
Oh yeah, to get our new zombie
to get our new we got 2 new video
Left
games.
4 Dead and Borderlands.
We're a little behind,
So
kids.
excited.
We're
Yeah, I
a
know,
little
because we
behind.
just finished the
We just finished Resident Evil 5 and 6, so we needed to be able to kill more zombies. And
Zombies you
virtually,
can kill.
you can kill zombies. We're fine with that. So I get there, and they were like, "Hey, we were thinking of going to Hugo's," and I was like,
Oh,
"All right,
Hugo's is
that's great.
awesome.
Let's go to Hugo's."
Shout out to Hugo's. I love Hugo's.
And then boss man was like, "Why don't we hit up that sushi joint across the street?" And I was like, "Okay." And then Clay's like, "Wait a minute, aren't you?" But I think I don't know if Brian can. Hold on.
Hold the party.
Like there was like, blah, 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 blah. and I was like, no, it's
okay.
fine. Let's go to the sushi joint. And he's like, "Well, are you going to be able to eat there?" And I'm like, I don't know.
There's always choices.
We'll
There are
see.
always
Like,
choices.
I'm sure there might be a veggie option. I'm not going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And then Clay, friend, like that's how you know you got a friend.
Yeah.
He was like, "But I'm not going to." This is what Clay said. He's like, "I'm not going to isolate you either by taking you to a restaurant where there are 0 meat-free options. So we'll find out." So we went there, and I was just like, let me just walk in and I'll ask, and if they don't have anything, then we'll go to Hugo's or whatever. And I go, do you guys have like a veggie sushi options? And they were like, yeah. I was like, cool. So I got an avocado roll, which is like avocado, rice, and seaweed. Mm-hmm. Dipped it in some soy sauce mixed with I'm losing it. What's the super spicy? Yeah, do like the wasabi and the soy sauce.
Yeah.
And then I also had a veggie tempura.
There are always options.
There's always options.
And that's the thing, too. It's like, you know, I went to a friend's birthday party. Well, we both went to a friend's birthday party not long ago, and everybody was worried because it was literally a meat-only restaurant.
It was a meat-only restaurant. Korean barbecue.
Yeah. And everybody was so worried and concerned. Like, are you guys okay? Are you? And that's so sweet. I honestly feel very loved and cared for, but I felt also a little. I was like, no, it's really okay. We're fine. We'll find something. And even the kitchen brought out they brought out tofu and mushrooms
and vegetables,
which they then proceeded to dump meat sauce all over. At one point.
It was one of those places where you cook your. I've told Anna this before. No offense. I don't mean to offend any party who might be listening, but the restaurants where you just go and cook your own food in front of you, I've never quite understood that.
It's work. You gotta.
Like, wait a minute. I'm paying you $22, and then
cook my own food.
I cook the food.
It's
hold on.
Experience, I guess.
I know everyone says that. They're like, we'll just bring you a bunch of raw meat and vegetables, and then you fucking cook it yourself. Like, have at it. And I've always like, why am I could do this at home, couldn't I? And then just have whatever I like. Yeah. I've never understood it. Sorry. Back to the notes. We're going back to this.
Well, the thread on Twitter.
So we got called regressive.
We got called regressive, to which I responded. Because I didn't want to be combative, so I just agreed. I said, okay, sure, if you want to call having love and respect for all animal life regressive, quote unquote, we'll take it. Yeah. Smiley face. And then she posted
a picture which has no sources. It has no references.
It's just a drawing. It's
just a drawing of a cow.
It's a drawing of a cow, and she writes, and certainly avoid those fireworks on any occasion, and medicine. Right. And she posted a picture of a cow. It's like hand drawn or graphic, and all the parts of the cow and everything that's made from those parts of the cow, fertilizer, adhesives, plastics. She said something about the roads that we walk on are made from cow parts. I'm like, okay, I said, listen, we read, we learn, and we do as much as we can. Thanks for this, actually, because I've just learned something new. And she says, you're welcome. If you manage to change any of it, I'll be happy to congratulate you.
Right.
And I just hearted that because I was like, all right, well, I am changing things. I feel like I am making changes.
Yeah, this is the distinction that I like to draw. I have this and one other point.
Yeah.
Before we... I don't know how long you wanted to go for.
I don't know how long podcasts are. I could go for
like an hour. Okay. We're at 43 minutes. We're in good shape.
Okay.
It is the option of choice, because what people will argue is people will say that, like, there are some people, like the Inuit community in northern Canada or Alaska or whatever, they have no choice but to kill hunt. Fish and kill sea lions and whatever and eat meat.
To survive.
And then there are some other cultures that have no choice, or there are our ancestors. They talk about, like, our ancestors ate meat in the wintertime, like when there were no crops available to eat. Yeah. We figured out how to hunt a mammoth or how to hunt a deer or how to, whatever. We did it in groups. And buffalo, like we would kill something and eat it. The difference that no one else seems
between now and then.
Yeah, that no one else seems to grasp is choice. Is that if you don't have a choice whether or not to eat meat, I suppose you're going to eat meat. Mm-hmm. But if you do have a choice whether or not to eat meat, as every American does, if you live in the United States of America, perhaps you're so poor that you can't even afford to go to a grocery store. Maybe food stamps don't work on fruits and vegetables, which I don't even know if that's possible or true. But chances are, if you live in the United States of America, you have the choice. You can go to the Ralphs and you can buy fruits, vegetables,
Again,
legumes.
that's just the grocery store that's nearest to us.
Sorry. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Albertsons.
Actually, we frequent the Trader
Gelson's.
Joe's way more than
We go to
the
Trader Joe's way more than Ralph's. Ralph's is just a funnier word, mostly because
Ralph's.
it sounds funny,
Yeah.
and it was in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
But you can go to your local grocery store and you can buy whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You have the choice. Now, they're going to try to make it super, super tempting because they're going to have like manager special steak and they're going to have, chicken is going to be this much per pound and it's all packaged and it looks pretty and it looks good and there's no like hint of animal suffering anywhere. And then you got the milk with the picture of the cows on it, What's that?
The 99
the 99
market or whatever.
Yeah.
There were what?
We went to an Asian foods market.
And they had whole...
It was like fish and lobsters.
No, but they had like, I think they had baby ducks in
packaging. Baby
that
ducks.
That was the first time I'd ever seen it, and that was a little shocking to me, but
so,
anyways.
If you don't have a choice, that's one thing. But if you do have a choice, that's a completely other thing. So to argue that, well, our ancestors had no choice but to eat meat, or an Inuit person living in northern Canada has no choice but to eat meat, okay, but you're a 24-year-old who lives in Silver Lake. You have the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have the choice.
Well, and some people will continue to argue that, some people who have tried veganism and turned back to meat eating say,
mm-hmm.
oh, it didn't work for me. I got really unhealthy. I got anemic. I got iron deficiency, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, here's the thing. I don't know that everybody who's been through that path has done the appropriate amount of research into what it takes to be a successful vegan, because it's not like you're eating, that's another thing, we're not just eating salads every day. That kind of would suck, because I'm personally not a huge fan of salads, believe it or not. I love vegetables, but I don't go to a restaurant and go and look at the salads first. That's not my thing. I like looking at the more substantial and the thing is, there are a lot of meat replacements.
Meat is
one of the food groups.
Everything
else.
Yeah, I will argue
my
forever.
My blood work from last time showed that my protein levels were at in the high range.
Yeah.
Which, surprise.
Because plants have protein in them.
And nobody actually really knows that.
But it's not that people are dumb.
No. It's that the media.
That the FDA
yes.
and the media has everybody convinced that the only way to get protein is to eat meat or drink milk.
Yeah.
Like, those are your two choices for protein. It's just not true.
But what people fail to realize, too, is that the FDA is funded by lobbyists and
for the dairy industry.
Special interest groups. Watch the documentaries. It's all there. I mean, these are people...
Just like anything else. You think politics are corrupt.
It's a business.
I mean, it's business.
Yeah.
So,
and I personally like to be in control of my own body and my own decisions. I don't like other, businesses. I don't like businesses making decisions for me. So I'm going to avoid the
I mean, there was a person that sort of went on a tirade. I won't name names, but there was a person that went on a tirade on Facebook, but sort of opened my eyes to a very, very good example.
I know exactly.
Which is you look at gorillas, you look at apes.
Yeah.
They are all vegetarians.
Yeah.
They don't eat meat.
Yeah.
And we
share 98% of their DNA.
And they don't seem to be lacking in the protein department. And you can make all of the arguments that you want about like how much vegetation they consume every day compared to how much vegetation we are capable of consuming every day. And I even saw one person that, like, I went online, they were like dispelling the myth about vegan gorillas. And it was like, what's this myth we're dispelling? Maybe I'm wrong. It was like, first of all, they're not vegan because gorillas and apes eat insects. Second of all, they eat plants that sometimes have insects on them. I was like, okay, hold on. Let's just stop right there. Like, if you're going to go the route of like, well, insects are animals and you shouldn't eat it, okay, fine. But the point is that they don't eat meat. Like, when's the last time you saw a gorilla take down an antelope? and like bite its neck and like rip its flesh off and eat it. Like that doesn't happen. And also
go to the LA Zoo. I mean, I prefer a sanctuary.
Yeah.
You know, if possible, go to an animal sanctuary. But at the LA Zoo, when I've been feeding time is papayas and zucchinis for the gorillas. So.
I mean, vegetables like beans, legumes, nuts, seeds. Veggies,
and there
fruits.
are so many different types. There are infinite types of grains and seeds and nuts. I mean, gosh, and it's not all we're eating. We are eating veggie dogs. We are eating veggie hot spice
sausages, yeah.
sausages, which I mean, yeah,
I would argue like
our channel, we will show you all the different things we eat.
Yeah.
And it's just fine. We're doing just fine.
And to anyone that wants to maybe try to like start to get off the meat a little bit, like my thing is that going from, hey man, I eat bacon and eggs in the morning, I eat a chicken sandwich at lunch, and I have a steak for dinner. If you're the type of person that eats a ton of meat, a ton of dairy, I understand it. I was once there with you, and going from that to vegan overnight can seem incredibly daunting, and you don't want to do it. So every single little bit helps. So even if it's one day, even if it's one meal out of one day, like maybe you have a meatless lunch every day, but you eat meat for dinner, meat for breakfast. If that's the way you want to do things, every little bit helps. But I will tell any meat eater out there that meat is the number one thing that is most easily replaceable, in my opinion. Because if you like hamburgers, you can get a black bean burger, you can get a veggie burger, you can get a Boca burger. There are so many burger replacements.
You can get meatless buffalo.
You can get buffalo wings that are meatless.
It's all in the sauce, people. I mean, what do you think makes them taste like that? If you were handed
it's
a slab
seasoning.
It's the seasoning. If you were handed a slab of just raw meat.
Just raw hamburger meat. Would you eat a raw hamburger patty?
No, and that's
probably
the way
no.
Isn't that the way our ancestors did it? I mean, well, actually, after they invented fire, they didn't. But it's they're putting.
Right.
They're putting tasty things in them, and that's what we do. We pepper it up. We put
it also
like seasoning.
Opened my like palate up a little bit, because I was like, I'd never had a black bean burger.
Now it's your favorite
with like with barbecue sauce and like come on.
Sorry.
Come on, Miss Valverde. Are you still hot? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. We're almost done.
We got water. But yeah, I would say that you can get meatless buffalo wings, you can get meatless hamburgers, you can get meatless tacos, you can get...
I have a drop of sweat
Showing me your sweat?
I have a drop of sweat on my stomach. It was tickling me. I thought it was a mosquito.
Oh, nope.
Because there would be mosquitoes here. I don't know.
In our booth? No.
No.
But yeah, I mean, we can get into this in another episode, obviously, but like
we'll talk
finding
more about
foods that don't have milk or dairy in them is way
hard.
more difficult.
That is hard. Even chips have dairy in them, for heaven's sakes. Oh my God.
It's way more difficult than finding a meatless option. But even so, even if everybody in the United States
did one meal a day.
Yeah, like had a meatless Monday, like, or something like that, or a meatless lunch. Like every day you just have a meatless lunch, eat meat the other two meals. If you can reduce that, because it's all about the money. Like, why do you think you can go to the grocery store and there's 9 different types of milk? You can get soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, whey milk,
hemp milk,
coconut cream. Like, there's all these milk replacements, and the reason is because there's demand for them.
Yeah.
Like, people want almond milk. People want soy milk. Maybe people are lactose intolerant. Maybe people just don't like the way milk, what it does to their stomach, if it like upsets their stomach or whatever. So there's demand for multiple types of milk. Thus, multiple types of milk can be found in the grocery store.
Oh, multiple types of milk is now the greatest section of milk in the grocery store, because now like the milk is in like one little section of Trader Joe's, and then you have the wall of everything
of all
else.
These non-dairy options.
Yeah.
The same thing will be true the less you buy of the meat and the more you buy of the meat replacement. Like because there's like here in LA, we're a little bit more fortunate. We have grocery stores that cater to a vegetarian or a vegan lifestyle a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But even here in Los Angeles, like you'll go to one Trader Joe's and it might have this, or you'll go to one Ralph's and it has that Boca Burger section, but then you go to the other Ralph's.
Yeah.
It's a little bit further north, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not really sort of standardized the way that other products are standardized, but you vote with your dollar, and whatever you buy is what they're going to keep stocking the shelves with. Mm-hmm. And whatever you don't buy is eventually going to fall off the shelves once demand gets low enough. Mm-hmm. So everybody can really make a huge, huge, huge difference.
And this is not
and
for
not
us.
completely give up
not for us,
the
guys.
things that you
and
love.
This is not to get thrown in our faces. Because believe me, anything like at this point, I am so completely jaded to any sort of potential insult that people want to throw at us as food, plant-only eaters. That won't really get to me. It's.
Well, what can you possibly throw in our face at this point that we haven't heard?
I know. It's for the animals. It's for the animals, and it's for your health and that'll be for a different episode.
Yeah.
You know, in their later years, people are starting. Well, no, it is a known fact that heart disease and diabetes are the number one killers of Americans. Out of all things that could possibly kill.
Heart disease is the number one problem for men, and type 2 diabetes is on the rise, and that has a lot to do with things being infused with sugar, which we can get into in a later episode as well. But yeah. I mean, I guess I'll leave you with this. Like, we talked a little bit about this during this episode about what made us switch, and the one thing that I left out, which we'll save for next week, is for those people that might not care necessarily about the moral implications. Mm-hmm. They don't care about factory farms. They'll shoot a deer in the head and skin it alive. Like, they don't care about animals.
Yeah.
Let's talk next week about when we watched Cowspiracy, because that's sort of what sealed the deal for me, which was, okay, maybe you don't give a shit about the morals. Maybe you don't care about chickens dying in a factory farm. Here's what meat eating is doing to the planet.
Right.
So if you're the type of person that's out there driving a Prius and wanting to like save the planet,
and you're eating meat every single meal,
I would encourage you to watch Cowspiracy and just look at how the meat and dairy industries are affecting global warming. They're affecting deforestation. They're affecting our climate. They're affecting the temperature of the planet. It's an eye-opening.
Yeah, it's a different perspective. I think they did well, and shout out to those people, because I know they went through a lot of red tape to get that out there.
Because that's one that focuses 0 on the morality.
Yeah, 0, no.
100% on the planetary impact.
Yeah.
Of growing food to feed your food.
Yeah.
To eat your food.
Seriously, what is this? It's like, okay, we'll talk about that later, because it's already 57 minutes, and I think.
Yeah. Well.
We'll wrap it up.
As always, I'm Brian.
And I'm Anna.
And we are
those annoying vegans.
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.